Hey guys, Nick from SGPhoto. Here is week number 4. Let's see if I can get the number right this time. Week number 4, photo challenge number 4, playing with shutter speed. We're going to be taking a look at your picks from last week where I had asked to play around with the shutter speed. What I had asked for were shots where A, you use the shutter speed to capture action. So you used a fast shutter speed to stop something that was moving at a fast speed, so you get no motion blur. So it'd be a pet shot, a picture of animals, or a sports shot, a moving car, that sort of thing. So we're going to take a look at what you guys turned in for that. Also, what I had also asked for were shots with intentional motion blur. So using motion blur for creative effect, because it can be used to make some really cool shots. So I gave you some ideas. Let's see what you guys came up with. However, I will explain what we've been doing for the past couple challenges in case you're not aware what really we've been going through with challenge number 3, which was isolating your subject. And I asked that you try to use a shallow depth of field as one way to isolate your subject, and so use choose the appropriate f-stop to keep your subject in focus and blur out the background. So that was to get you used to setting your aperture, trying to guess what aperture, what f-stop you need to set it at to get the shot that you're looking for. With this week, we were looking at playing with shutter speed, so choosing the right shutter speed for the shot that you want. So really what we've been doing is we've been making our way through the exposure triangle. So the exposure triangle is made up of the 3 settings: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. When you go full manual, these are the 3 settings that you set that you have complete control over to take your photo. And so those are the 3 settings that you need to understand to set appropriately so that you can get the perfect exposure. It's about mastering each of these settings and seeing how they affect the image so that you can instantly walk into a room and know roughly what your settings are going to be when you take your first shot. So you don't need to know right away as soon as you walk into a room. My ISO is going to be 100. I'm going to set it at f2.8, and I'm going to set my shutter speed at 1/250, and you're going to be bang on. No, but you're going to be close. So then from there you just kind of fine tune it. That's what we're trying to build towards, understanding the exposure triangle so that you can all graduate to manual if you haven't been shooting manual yet, and you can be more comfortable in adjusting these settings. So that's what we've been doing. Anyways, no further delay. Let's get into this challenge because it's late where I am right now, and I want to try and get to these shots quickly and get the next challenge out. So here we go. So for those of you who don't know already, or if you want to try and get more friends in on the challenge, here's what you can do. Send them the link for the sharpgo.com/blog. That is where all of the challenges and also the critiques go up. So last week was the SGPhoto critique number 3, isolation. In that nice, neat blog post, you've got everything. You've got the video critiques playlist, which is loaded up here. A description of some of the shots, and I'm bringing 1 or 2 with photo credits into the blog post, and links to the SGPhoto gallery, where you will then find the images for that challenge so that you can give them thumbs up, leave comments, all that sort of stuff. So that can all be found in the blog post. So all the information can be made available there. So if you need to ever find information on the particular challenge that's going on that week, head on over to there. If you got someone who wants to get in on the challenge, head over there, give them the link. Let's get into the first one here. Possibility Films, the one and only Peter. Thank you once again for jumping in on week 4, Pete. Really appreciate you getting your shots in really early too. He had to got these shots in very early in the week because he said that he was heading away. So good on you. Thank you for taking some time before you headed away. So let's go through these shots. It looks like you took a series to see what motion blur affects. So let's take a look at the settings for each one. So this one you set it at 1/5. Shooting 28 mil, ISO over 100, f32. So probably done so because it's nice and bright outside with all the snow, and you're shooting at a slow shutter speed. So good on you for adjusting your f-stop for that, you probably had to close it right down to as little as you could go. So that's probably the slowest shutter speed you could go at. If you want to go slower, go get yourself an ND filter. Hold on. I got one. So here's what you can do. If you guys are finding that you're shooting out in the snow, outside in the daylight, even even in the winter time, not in the winter time, even in the summertime, it's going to be nice and bright. If you find that you're having a difficult time cutting down the light, you want to be getting a slow shutter speed, or it's intensely bright. Let's say you don't want to shoot at f32. You want to shoot all the way open. You want to have a shallow depth of field, so you want to open it up to 1.8 or 2.8 or f4. Doesn't matter. Okay, how do you then compensate? I mean, you can only lower your shutter speed so far. So what do you then do? Here's the easy solution. Go out and get yourself an ND filter. This one is a graduated ND filter. So you can get them. There are two different kinds. There's this one, which basically works like this. If you take a look at it, as you turn, it gets darker, so you can adjust it. And so these are basically sunglasses for your camera. So they block the amount of light coming in. So that is one way to cut down the amount of light coming into your camera if you don't want to change your settings. So that way you don't have to compensate and go for a slower shutter speed than you want to. You don't have to close your f-stop up. This one is you can get them, cheap, expensive, somewhere in between. I'd go at least for like the middle range. Don't go too cheap. Just to make sure that you're putting something somewhat decent in front of your lens and you're not cutting down the image quality. You can also get them not graduated. You can get them they're non-graduated, they're non-adjustable, so you can get them in certain stops, levels. I can't remember the name for it, but they're basically fixed. So if you want to change one up, then you simply unscrew one, put a dark one on, and that's how you would adjust it. So those would be a little bit cheaper than the this handy dandy adjustable one, but this one's much better. You get this one and you're set. You don't have to fiddle around with which one you're going to put on your lens. So that's what I would suggest. But let's get back to these. So I'm guessing you want to see the effect motion blur, or I want to see the effect that a slow shutter speed would have. So I guess that's your slowest shutter speed. I'm going to look at this as a series, so we can see them getting darker. Did you adjust anything else? Nope, kept everything the same. So 1/10. So he's getting a little bit. Are you getting a little bit faster, or a little bit slower? Getting a little bit faster, obviously. It's late. Okay, so I'm guessing this person that you're just saying, please run by as quickly as possible, and you'll take the shot. 1/160. This is okay, and so you've been adjusting also the f-stop as you go as well. So that's f.8, right? 1/160. And then this would be the fastest, 1/640 f4. I think that's the last one in the series anyways. Yeah, so before I get to this one, so let's talk about the series. So this shows exactly what the effect of changing your shutter speed does. If we go back to the very first one here, at the slowest shutter speed, that's what you get. You get a lot more light coming in, so he had to stop down his f-stop to f32. And also, even like the slightest bit of movement will still, at 1/5. This person barely registers because it's taking a span of time and blending it together. So the longer something stays put, the longer something is stationary, or the slower something is in your frame, the more it's going to come up. If something is moving quickly, it's going to be a ghost, as this gentleman is here. So, and even the little movement, like if wind's blowing through the branches back here, even then that will set it off as well. That will come up as motion blur. So you can just see the effect as he's speeding up the shutter speed. This is what you get. Until at this point, even still, you could, he's a little blur. I don't know if that's, it looks like you're focused on the tree back here, so maybe that could be it. If you are going to be taking a shot of a moving subject, the challenge is to get focus on that subject. So the two things you can do is either, if you know that you're going to be taking a picture of your subject as it passes a certain point, if you have the ability to get them to stand on that point, grab focus, switch to manual so that it won't change after that, and then have them go through the action. Another thing is, if you don't have the ability to do that, if you're shooting, so let's say, a live event, and you don't have the ability to grab focus, try to focus on something on that same plane. So maybe not something on that spot there. I try, if possible, to focus something at least on the spot on the ground where the subject is going to be passing, or something next to them. So something on the same plane, something not further or back from that point where I'm going to be taking the shot, but try to grab focus somewhere around the point where I will be snapping a shot of the subject. So as they pass through, I've got them in focus. If you find it still challenging, then give yourself a deeper depth of field to work from. If you're shooting all the way open, it's going to be really tough to grab focus. You have a very shallow depth of focus, so it's very challenging to then grab a shot of them. So close your f-stop up, f4, 5.6, 7.1, whatever you have to do to give yourself a little bit of that freedom to get the shot, get your subject in focus rather. One other thing this may lead to, again, if it's a live event, if you're nervous, the first live event that I shot was a fashion show, and I knew that the subjects were going to be moving very quick. They ended up moving very, very quickly, and I had to actually move around and kind of chase them around the room, and I was very nervous. And so what I did was I turned up my camera on full auto. That's what's called spraying and praying. So you just kind of hold hold the button down and just take as many shots as you can, and hope that one of them turned out in focus. And yeah, it did kind of work, but then that also kind of worked against me, because first of all, I wasn't learning about how to get the particular shot, envision the shot that I want, get it in focus. I was just kind of, I was spraying and praying. I was just hoping that I got something in shot, not being too concerned about what moment I was going to be capturing. So what pose they were going to be in, what was their expression, what their expression was going to be like, whether their eyes were open. It was just more. It came down to more: is the shot in focus? Then that's my good shot, even though it didn't necessarily make a good shot. So try to resist that. It will be more of a challenge to keep to single shots, but with time, you get better at it. Anyways, I'm talking a whole lot about this first set. What were you shooting at this last one, Pete? 1/4, 2.8, 1600, 75. Okay. So you're shooting with that Tamron lens, weren't you? Very nice. So he was zoomed in, had to boost the ISO up to 1600 to compensate for the low light in the room, but also shooting at 1/4 was letting in some light. So that would have been one way to compensate. Is this a show that you're at? I'm guessing it must have, some sort of dance show or karate demonstration or something like that. And so this is a really funky effect. This is motion blur used for a creative effect. So right here, you're capturing something in motion. And so you get this sort of effect. The only thing that's distracting is whatever this thing is that's in the bottom left corner that's kind of blocking the view. Otherwise, that's a cool shot. Can't deny that. The motion blur, and plus the color is lending itself very well to it. If you're gonna take a shot of someone with colorful lights or colorful clothing, that's gonna show up and it's gonna give it a cool pattern. Yeah, cool shot, man. I dig it. Thank you very much for getting your shots in, and also thank you starting off with your selection. Your series there was a great thing to start the critique off with, a good demonstration of what slow and fast shutter speed can do and how it affects the exposure triangle. Thanks a lot, Pete. Really hoping that you had a good vacation and that you're going to be back soon to participate in the next challenge.